going to be like, I can't hear me anyway.
Good morning, folks. Jeremy Larkin here with the Cedar City Real Estate Morning Drive. I'm live in the studio with my friend
Jesse Poll.
I about said your name for you, Jesse Poll. We're with the Larkin Group Home Selling Team, KW Realty. And before we get any further in the show, if you have any real estate question that is burning in your brain, your heart, your soul, we want you to visit us at
GoCedarCity.com.
GoCedarCity.com or Google the Larkin Group, and we'd love to answer any of your questions around real estate or Iron County real estate. Paul sounds like P-A-U-L.
So it's spelled P-O-L-L. And my wife says it the best. It's Paul, rhymes with doll. And I often ask people, well, how do you spell doll? So how in the world did they ever come up with Poll as P-O-L-L? I don't know. That's what's weird about the English language. It's got different rules.
Here's what we do with what we do with the English
depending on who
language.
you're
What the
talking
heck
to.
we want. We do whatever the heck we want. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, it is what it is, right? They say it is what it is. I actually once upon a time saw Jerry Seinfeld live at the Coliseum not in Rome, at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, and he was very funny, and he went on this tangent about it is what it is, and how that phrase kind of drives him crazy, and that kind of thing. So it was entertaining. You did have to be there, but it is what it is. This is what we do. Jesse Poll, one call, that's all. The Larkin Group, KW Realty, guys, we help humans.
And that actually came from Joe Wright's son.
Joe Wright, it's like his 11-year-old son. Well, at the time he was 11. The kid said, one call, Jesse Poll.
His dad's a real estate agent, but I was his favorite realtor. That's classic. That was so good.
Yeah, he said, Jesse Poll is my son's favorite realtor. So good. We help folks like you, human beings, even manage your wealth in real estate, buying, selling, investing. We're going to give you just a rapid fire, exciting, I hope, report on what the heck is going on, guys, in the world of real estate today. And I'm talking about some incredible data. Our show is brought to you by our friends at Guild Mortgage. Love these guys.
Yeah,
Guild Mortgage, Chantry Abbott, Steve Stout. If you're thinking about financing a home, trying to figure out how to finance a home, I want you to do that. I want you to reach out to them. And Jesse, man, if I'm listening to him bang that thing around here, I am like, oh my gosh. Listen, I'm going to kick Jesse out of the studio. I don't know if our listeners can hear him banging around with his microphone.
It's kind of like living with me.
Pinging around.
Yesterday I was walking and I was in a conversation looking this way, and we were walking around this truck, and what did I do? Wham!
You banged right into it.
Right. I'm surprised it didn't give me a black eye.
You ran right into a truck.
Well, there was a big rod sticking out, 4 feet out the end of it.
Oh my gosh.
I laughed. That's the biggest joke in our office is, what did I hit this time?
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. But you know what he is great at? He is great at assisting clients in navigating the real estate market.
Yeah. I'll make sure you don't hit the truck.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is phenomenal. And look, there's a quote here that I'm going to share. Confusion leads to fear. Fear leads to panic. Panic leads to paralysis. And the reason I set this up today is our greatest desire is to help our clients understand the market. Mm-hmm. And when you can understand the market in the right way, you can make decisions. And again, I think for sure, Jesse, that's why most people don't make a decision, right? They don't make a decision because they have confusion. Confusion leads to fear. Fear leads to panic. Panic leads to paralysis, right?
Yep. Or bad decisions.
You bet.
Both.
You bet.
I swear, anytime I've had people make decisions out of fear or, actually out of fear, 90% of the time it's been a bad choice.
Amen.
And we look back and go,
Let me tell you something you won't fear, by the way. I just shared it on our right here on our feed. It's kind of fun. As he says, if you make a decision from fear, you're going to regret it. 1579 West Pyrite Unit C. It is for sale. It is available. We had 2 offers. Things went sideways. Both fell apart. Didn't do anything. Beautiful location just across the freeway from the Home Depot. Home Depot, Walmart.
the depot.
The liquor store, if that's what you're into. Plenty of restaurants. Honestly, on a bicycle, 2 minutes to the Southview trails, which are
Those are so cool.
So
I'm actually excited. It's not going to be too long before we can go ride.
we're going to be starting to ride bikes in Cedar City again. This thing is beautiful. 3 beds, 2.5 baths. This is our featured listing for the week. And here's why I want to share this. We want to help our clients sell their properties around Iron County, but this is our featured listing today. The reason this is so important is this is a local, not a business owner, but a business manager. The individual who owns this property runs a really great local business. I frequent the business. We're keeping some anonymity, right? Young family, young's maybe a loose term, but right, and moving across town, and they've really enjoyed this townhome, and they lived in a little single family historic home on 600 East in downtown St. George, and I helped them move that. And then they moved to Cedar City and they purchased this townhome, and now they're going to upgrade to a single family home.
Nice.
This is what people are doing, right? Looking at a single family home, probably 500-ish, 450-ish. This is how the real estate equity trade up game works.
Right. And that's actually how people win. They start somewhere and then they trade up, then they trade up, then they trade up.
Correct.
Trying to step into, and we just talked about this the other day too, is trying to step into your final home the first time you buy a home or the second time you buy a home is almost impossible for everybody.
Correct. And here's the thing I want to share. I'm pull something up here. I'm going to share from my phone. We've created an expectation. Jesse, you and I had got into a lengthy discussion about it.
Yeah.
And just for what it's worth, a family argument. And we're not going to get into the depths of it, but there was definitely debate at Jesse's dinner table.
Yeah.
And it was about people's ability to purchase a home. Millennials versus Gen X versus baby boomers versus, right. Okay. Gang, let me tell you the best time to plant a tree. Can we use the oldest analogy in the world? 20 years ago. Yep. 30 years ago, 50 years ago, 5 years ago. When's the next best time to plant a tree?
Right now.
The only way you get into, Jesse, the real estate game, okay? The only way you get into is you start.
Yeah. Start where you can.
Let's go back to the quote I shared earlier. Confusion leads to fear. Fear leads to panic. Panic leads to what? Paralysis.
Yep.
And so here's something that I see right now. I'm going to share one more that I love. Another one of our properties featured listing today. I had to remember the street number, is that a lot of people are not buying homes because they see a lot of confusion in the market and they go, I don't understand. I've not purchased a home. I don't know where to start. And so therefore I'm not going to do anything. And then what they do is they look back and they say, I wish that I would have I wish I would have started
I'm
earlier.
glad you pulled that one up. I was going to ask you to.
Yeah. So tell us about this. So just for fun, this is a beautiful home. It's another one of our great listings.
Yeah. So this is a home. I'll bet it's about a mile from the temple.
Yeah.
Up in the Cove neighborhoods, the Cove area. And it's 3,100 square feet, 5-bedroom. There's a unfinished part of the basement that you could actually turn into a little apartment. You can do, because it's got all the plumbing for a kitchen and a bathroom. So you could actually turn that into 2 separate living spaces if you wanted to.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Really cool property.
I dig this.
550,000.
I dig
really
this.
Cool neighborhood.
Look at this. I'm just panning through it.
And one
beautiful
cool
home,
thing about this
wood
property
floors.
is that area you see in the back there. You don't have any backyard neighbors. There's a space there that's basically more of a common area right now. There's a lot there, but the way it dips, you'll never have a house right behind you.
Just for fun, Jesse, this person, maintaining anonymity. Like, what's the story on our seller right here?
They're a family that they're actually going to be going to Kane County.
Yeah.
They're because of some work situations, he needs to be closer to Kane County, and they're headed over that way.
Here's why I like this. People are moving.
Yeah.
And the reason the quote is in our what we call slide deck for the day that I shared earlier. Fear leads to confusion. Confusion leads to fear. Fear leads to panic. Panic leads to paralysis. Well, I heard that there's a commissions lawsuit and interest rates are high, and the media is going to tell a story that always sounds negative. And here's the wild part. Jesse, what are people doing all the time in the real estate market?
Buying and selling.
They're moving around.
Because here's the reality. We all need a place to live.
Correct.
Period. Is it actually unaffordable now? Yes. However, people still need to live somewhere. And could it be argued that long term, it's still not as unaffordable as renting?
Well,
the monthly payment may be higher, but over time.
Well, let me tell you what could be argued. What could be argued is two things. Number one is, you know who it's not unaffordable for? People who purchased a home a long time ago, people who planted a tree a long time ago.
That's true.
Okay. That's number one.
I'm talking about the people that actually need to do something today.
Correct.
Because it's easy to say that, but that's done with.
Yeah. No, I get it. But there's multiple points here. Number one, it's not unaffordable for people who started already.
Right.
Okay. So what's the moral of the story?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You should start now. Number two, we know right now median monthly payment, and I may be able to show you the slide if we get to it today. Right now, median monthly mortgage payment right now in the United States is $1,984. By the way, if you wanted to know, I do know because I actually shared this with our friends at Sunwood Homes yesterday. Sunwood Homes is one of our great clients. But what I want to say is, and by the way, guys, the website that we were just working from, gocedarcity.com. That is gocedarcity.com. We should have shared those addresses with you.
Right.
Gocedarcity.com. You can search every single home in the Iron County MLS. And that 5-bedroom home, what was the address? 2193 West?
30 North.
30 North and 1579 West Pyrite. Beautiful townhome over by the Southview Trailhead. Let's talk about this. The Nevada Association of Realtors basically surveyed a few thousand people. And they said, which of the following statements do you agree with most? And, you go, well, Nevada, that's Nevada. Guys, it's a cross-section of America, right? You could have interviewed or surveyed any state. Which of the following statements do you agree with most? The first one was, when you buy a home, you should definitely have someone who represents your interest during the whole process. Yes or no? What percentage said yes?
76%.
Yeah. 76%. This is so interesting because with what's been going on in the news, with some of the way that agents will be compensated will change this summer. The way that the agent representing the buyer is compensated will change. Okay. The thing that I want to share is that 8 out of 10 homes, it's interesting, 76% said no. The interesting thing is the question was, when you buy a home, you should definitely, notice the word is definitely, have someone who represents your interest. 76% said yes. That was definitely. The reality is over 80% of homes that sell are represented in some way by a real estate agent. And so I want to be clear for realtors out there. Your job didn't go away either because there was a change, but your job will go away if you don't deliver value to your clients. And so if you're a potential buyer or seller, you should expect value from your real estate professional, right?
Yeah.
How about this one? Of respondents, excuse me, I'm stuttering here. Of respondents agree that it would be stressful to navigate the home buying process without a real estate broker. 91. I was stammering because of the way it's phrased.
And I would say that
91%.
There's a lot of validity to that. I was talking to a title person one day, and actually the mortgage guys say this too. Mm-hmm. The most complicated and stressful transactions they are ever in are where there's no representatives involved.
Oh, yeah,
just a buyer, a seller, or maybe just one agent sometimes, because the representation goes away.
Correct. Hear this out.
Really,
mortgage lenders, the people doing the financing, they say the bane of their existence is a real estate transaction that they're lending on that doesn't have a realtor involved. 91%, I'm going to rephrase this now. 91% of the respondents said it would be very stressful to navigate the home buying process without a real estate agent or broker. And 87% said a real estate agent or broker is an essential trusted home advisor for a home buyer. Wow. Okay, let's keep rolling, guys. I think it's very, very, very important. I want to get down to some really important things that we need to talk about. Interest rates went up, Jesse. This is valid and valuable for, this is the Cedar City Real Estate Morning Drive. Jeremy Larkin with the Larkin Group over at KW Realty. Jesse Poll's with us. We're talking about the state of affairs in the second week of April 2024, right? Tax week. Oh my gosh, let's not start on that. But
Yeah,
interest
the
rates.
1 week I shouldn't actually need an LLC created is the 1 week that it's like,
Yeah.
or to figure out how do I get the EIN number?
Oh, you can go set one up online.
I think I might need to.
You just go set one up on your own. My son did. My 19-year-old son set up an LLC.
Nice.
Just went online and set it up. It's just like that. Mortgage rates right now, guys. Rates, I want you to understand that one of the things that we try to do on the Cedar City Real Estate Morning Drive is speak in a way that is palatable for a consumer.
Mm-hmm.
Mortgage rates. The interest rate that you pay for the money you borrow to buy a house. Sit at about today, probably 6.7%. Right? You think,
Yeah.
Jesse? Like the actual effective rate.
Yeah, I haven't even
30-year mortgage. Somebody has good credit. They met whatever down payment requirement there is.
Yeah, probably 6 3/4.
By the way, let's bust a myth.
Maybe almost 7.
Let's bust a myth. Do you need 20% down payment to get a loan?
You do not.
Do you need 10%?
You do not.
Could you theoretically, depending on the loan program, bring as little as nothing?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I didn't say I recommend that, but I will say
It's
this.
possible.
It's funny. People go, well, it seems really risky for folks to buy homes with a really low down payment. Well, is that more risky than living in a rental that you don't even own or have any control over? You know what I mean? It's like, isn't that funny?
I think that was probably a good argument when home values were $100,000. Like that it's
it was really simple.
When home
right?
values are $400,000 or $500,000, it gets difficult for many people to come up with 20%.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of really good loan programs that will make it possible that you don't have to, and not really as much risk.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, because when it all shakes out, the payment is almost the same.
Of course it is. And of course, if you're renting, you have zero tax benefits, no control. Now, here's why people rent. They rent because either A, it's all they can accomplish, right, financially at that time, or B, because it's just what they choose.
Yeah,
we talked about a friend of mine this morning who lives down in San Diego, and Del Mar, technically. Del Mar is expensive.
I love that perspective too, because she's like, I'm choosing this because this is where I want to be.
Yeah, well, correct. So let me tell you what he's talking about. Jesse's like got the cart before the horse. You know what I mean? He's like,
story of my life.
Yeah, Jesse, we haven't told the story yet.
Story of my life.
Jesse's like, I love that story. And the listeners are like, and?
It's hard to push the cart uphill, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So this friend of mine named Sylvia, she lives down in Del Mar, expensive area. And we got in this conversation. She came out and hung out. We had a little ski. She came out and did the ski vacation. And we were sitting around the table at Dan Rawls' house up in Salt Lake talking about real estate. She's like, I wonder what I could buy in Salt Lake. I wonder what I could buy in Park City. I wonder what I could buy in St. George. Why don't you own a home? Well, I live by the ocean, and it's 2 blocks to the ocean every morning with my surfboard.
Yeah.
I physically walk with my surfboard to the ocean. And the reason I rent is there's no possible way I could afford to purchase a home. Right. So I've made the choice to live in a rental, a 1-bedroom apartment, so I can have the lifestyle I want. And so you have to make decisions, and your lifestyle decisions matter, right? So if you choose to live in Cedar City or St. George, Utah, there will be pros and cons to that decision.
Yep.
Right. And we talk about these areas like, oh, they're the best places in the world. They're really great. I think that they're as good as anywhere in the world. Yeah. But not everybody chooses to live here. And wouldn't it be a disaster if they did? Yeah. So what's the number one thing, Jesse, that's going to affect home housing affordability for the average consumer? What is the number one thing that's going to change it? Is that prices dropping?
No.
What is it?
Interest rates.
Yep. Do you guys realize that a 0.5 point drop from 6.8% to 6.3% dramatically affects affordability? And a 1 point drop, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
So they're predicting, guys, that by the end of the year we'll be at 6.2%. What does that do for housing demand? Does it decrease it or increase it?
It'll increase it.
Okay, this makes it more competitive, right?
And we're seeing more competition right now, even with interest rates going up a little bit in the first quarter.
Correct. Correct. Let me share this slide with you, Jesse, that we referenced earlier. We teased him.
Okay.
This is the February 2024 rental report. This is the 50 largest metros. Now, look, this is not Iron County. This is the 50 largest metros in America. The monthly mortgage payment, median monthly mortgage payment is $1,984. All right. So the median monthly rent is $1,889. Here's why, it was $1,708, okay, for a 2-bedroom. Overall, it's $1,708. Here's why this is so important. Across America right now, it is actually cheaper, assuming you got the same type of property, your monthly rental payment, median monthly rental payment, $1,700 versus $1,984 for a mortgage. Okay. Now I can see Jesse. It's fun to watch his face because he doesn't like what he saw, but he hasn't heard my argument.
Well, I'm just trying. No, I'm trying to. Yeah. I'm trying to connect it with where we're at. So
yeah, that's good.
Because this is the first time I'm seeing this slide, so I'm processing it.
Okay, that's good. The wheels are turning.
Yeah,
it's like a little cog. Here's what I want to say about this.
It's a little bit rusty.
Here's what I want to say about this, Jesse.
Okay.
Well, right. Overall, you could have a rental unit that you don't own that has zero tax advantage whatsoever. You can't customize it. You can't upgrade it. You have no pride of ownership, and you get zero appreciation benefit. That's true. And what you do is every month you give the landlord your money, and he or she builds their nest egg. And there's guess what the total savings? Would you guys like to know? Based on these numbers, 1984 sounds like a year because it was minus 1708, 276 times 12. And guess what your total, I want to pause. I want our listeners to hear this.
I'm not saying a word.
People are like, oh my gosh, it's almost $300 more a month to own a home. Do you know what the total savings for you to live in a home that you have zero control over, no ownership in, no appreciation? You'd save $3,312 this year. And that's pretty piddly. That's the sad part. And this is what people don't think about. That is all you would save in a monthly payment. Now, Jesse, are you ready for the fun next slide? The Home Price Expectation Survey is an aggregation. They aggregate hundreds of different economic forecasts, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, Morgan Stanley Bank, Goldman Sachs Bank, and they put it into a thing. The Home Price Expectation Survey suggests that a $400,000 home will be worth $415,000 next year by the end of next year. Okay. So year one, you'd get $15,000 in equity. We're not even talking about the tax benefit from owning a home, and we're going to wrap this show up momentarily. What's our timing, Jesse?
We've got about
2.5 minutes.
2 minutes.
Your net gain, if this forecast is accurate, and you know why I like this forecast? This forecast is a national forecast, but Cedar City home prices are almost exactly right here. $400,000 home is estimated to be worth $415,000 by the end of next year. By 2026, it's estimated to be worth what?
$429,000.
By 2027, estimated to be worth what?
$445,000.
By 28?
$464,000.
And by 2029?
$483,000.
Let's talk about this. But Jeremy, Jesse, there are costs to purchasing a home. There actually are. There are costs. There are loan fees and a bunch of other costs. They estimate the cost of buying at $16,560. Right now, if you purchased a home and this forecast rings true, they're estimating that the typical homeowner in 5 years would have $66,825 in equity to their name. And here's the part they didn't translate, Jesse. In 5 years, and I wish we had this number, should I give you an estimate? I'll give you an estimate. What do you think someone pays down on their monthly mortgage principal typically? $200?
Yeah, because it's weighted in the front. So yeah, $200. So
okay, an extra $12,000 in pay down on your mortgage, plus $66,825. They're forecasting. Okay, I haven't gotten into the tax benefits.
The tax benefits yet.
And you own your home. $78,825 gain in the next 5 years. So look, today's show, guys. I want to wrap this up. interesting stuff to think about, isn't it?
It is, because it's not just about what's happening right this second. It's about long term.
Right.
What is possible.
Right. It's not what's about what is it's not about what's happening today.
In fact, making decisions based on what's happening today will cost you so much more than just $78,000.
I'm going to go back to our opening slide, guys, and I'm going to invite you over. Confusion leads to fear. Fear leads to panic. Panic leads to paralysis. If you're in the real estate market, which you are, the interesting thing about our show, because people have asked me over the years as we wrap up, do people listen to this? Like, who listens to this? Every single human being is in the real estate market. That's the interesting part. Because if you rent or own a home, you're in the real estate market. And everyone rents or owns a home. So if you have some confusion, allow us to dispel that for you and help you make decisions. Get you some information. Visit us at gocedarcity.com, gocedarcity.com, or Google the Larkin Group. We'd love to be a trusted advisor. And the worst case scenario, you'll get some really good ideas from us, and then you can give them to your buddy who's a realtor.
Yeah.
Jesse, Jeremy, over and out, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys.